Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Tonight's presentation is a fun one, all about the opening of schools for the 23-24 school year. We started off the year with 2 days of new teacher orientation. This was Monday, August 28th, and Tuesday, August 29th. We had new orientation for new teachers, psychologists, and teaching assistants this year. We started off this year with the convocation by me with introductions to all of our administrators and really having our new employees take a look at our mission and how we sort of bring that to life. And we tried something new this year where we had 4 students, so we had 4 tables and a student at each table to really talk about how being a lifelong learner, a dynamic thinker, and a compassionate contributing citizen, what it really looks like and feels like from the student perspective with these new teachers. And I definitely think it was very helpful for them to be able to speak to students that have been Pleasantville Panthers for a good part of their life and really talk about those components of our mission and how they bring them to life and all about our learning environment in which we do it. We had trainings by technology so that they could learn the learning management systems, how to use the technology, how to use eSchool data. We had implicit bias training with Dr. Chigares, differentiated instruction with Dr. Bala, and lunch with the TAP, time in the buildings to get to learn all of their components of the teaching and learning process here in Pleasantville. And as you know, the best part of new teacher orientation is not yours truly. It is the wonderful Mr. Fondy. So we have some pictures of him on our tour of Pleasantville that he has so much fun doing, and it's always fun to be there with him doing that. So we had great 2 days of new teacher orientation. After that, we had 3 days of superintendent's conference days. We spent time in this top left picture. You can see some of the BRS staff in with our consultant learning about the different models in ICT. And we also have on the bottom right, our high school staff working on the curriculum writing goal for the high school. So you'll hear more about our goals at our next board meeting, and we'll talk about the goals for that.
ICT is?
Integrated co-teaching. Thank you. In addition to learning about the goals, we also had opportunities for our students to come in and do orientations, move-in days, building tours, and I wanted to specifically thank our PTAs and all of our parent groups for supporting us. You can see we have the famous Walters hot dog truck for 5th grade orientation. In the bottom picture is some of our 5th graders. They're holding up their locks, which you know is a really important step for 5th grade. And then on the bottom right, you'll see a bunch of our peer leaders, 11th and 12th graders that were trained to lead sessions, as you can see in the top right picture, for 9th grade orientation. So a lovely opportunity to have our students orienting new students to the high school.
It's such a nice rite of passage when you see the 5th graders and then eventually in 11th grade they're helping the younger ones make those transitions.
It's
Love
good.
that.
It's so nice to see them and have them back. They're moving in, they're setting up their lockers, etc. We also, as part of our superintendent's conference day, all of our new employees have our implicit bias training that I had talked about. And just a bunch of different various trainings and meetings. 3 of our 5 nurses had their first day. So you can see our team of nurses working hard. And Mr. Brink providing some training to our new special education aides. And on the bottom left, you can see some of our staff members from BRS with some new signs that they had made for their SEL work that they're working on, social and emotional learning for SEL work. So we really had a great week with our adults splashed in with our students, as I had said, for orientation. And I'm going to ask our amazing principals to come up and talk about the opening day within their schools, starting with Mrs. Hunger, and she'll talk a little bit about kindergarten orientation, because if you ask me to do it, I might be here all night. So come on up and talk about our kindergarten orientation and BRS, please.
Thank you so much for having me here this evening. I love that kindergarten gets their own slide. Like, we are a K-12 district, and we recognize that what an important role we have of being the very first people of your K-12 journey here. So special that they get a special start, they get a special first day, and it just feels a little bit different. You could see some smiling faces up there. Of course, we all can't start kindergarten injury-free, but always in good spirits despite all of that. A few things that stuck out to us over the first couple of days of kindergarten was really the trust that already exists between our families as well as the school. While we all hope that when our children go to kindergarten, they go in with a big smile on their face, we know that that's not the reality for all. And the amount of trust that our families put into us to know that when they leave their little baby at the door, that we have them and that they'll be okay. And something really special, I think, about BRS and about Pleasantville is that if your child wasn't 100% going in, that there's going to be a grown-up with a phone call or a picture or something following about an hour later just to let you know. Because we know what it feels like to be that parent and wondering if they're okay. I was walking through the classrooms over the past couple of days and so impressed with our kindergarten team. I went up to a kindergartner today and said, what are you doing today? They go, I can read, I know the letter T. And they were just so excited and gained some perspective. Today was day 5 of kindergarten, day 6 for the rest of our students, but day 5 for our kindergarten students. And the smile and the pride that they had on their face of being able to share that was truly, truly priceless. As we're thinking about the rest of back to school for Bedford Road School, the top middle picture you see is what you don't see from the outside. So if you come to Bedford Road School in the morning, first couple days of school, there's a lot of students and everyone's walking in. And then somehow you magically figure they find their classrooms. And this could be especially challenging for some of our younger students. And this was from the very first day I walked in. And this was like the army of people who were the welcoming committee, ready to welcome any student that walked through the door, help them feel welcomed, help them find their classroom. And we are so absolutely grateful, and especially for our first grade students, when they walk in and the first person they see is someone they know from kindergarten, it just brings that comfort right back to them, that they know that they'll be safe, they know that they'll be loved again. In the top right-hand corner, you may have heard, if you have any BRS students, that recess, the new popular thing at recess, is Gaga this year. And if you don't know how to play Gaga, I suggest you come and check out what's going on during recess at BRS and take a look into it. This is a big thank you to our PTA. This is actually a collaboration between our 2021-22 board as well as our PTA board from last year. We're extremely grateful to have that. The students were unbelievably excited, and I can share that the grown-ups, we've learned a whole lot over the past week just about Gaga. A few other highlights from the beginning of the year. We had our Welcome Back Assembly last Friday where we all came together, all of our students and our staff. We took our bucket filling pledge. We are bucket fillers at BRS, and we like to begin the year by reminding ourselves of how important it is to be a bucket filler, and ended our week by singing all together the Bedford Road School song, and it was just a wonderful way to come together. Some of the other pictures up there are just from Welcome Back, some of our classrooms. Our new library media specialist is up there as well, and the kids are really getting to enjoy meeting him for the very first time, seeing the friendly faces of the teachers and the staff that they know from the year before as well. And Dr. Barra, if you want to come up and share a little bit about the middle school.
Good evening, everyone. So we had a great opening so far. As Dr. Vasaz said, we had our faculty and staff engaged in some really engaging professional development, wonderful professional development to start the year. But this presentation specifically is about the kids. I would be remiss.
One slide, okay?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I would be remiss if I did not thank our custodial staff and our maintenance crew for getting our building ready. If anyone was able to see the inside of our building in July and August due to our HVAC project, which is taking place, it was a significant undertaking for our custodial staff to get the building ready for our teachers and our students. So I greatly thank them for that work. That said, when the building was up and ready to go for students and teachers, we had our 5th grade orientation, which you can see some of the pictures up here on the slide, and we had our 6th through 8th grade move-in day. This was an idea years ago, I'd say probably 6 or 7 years ago, where the PTA and the administration partnered to have students move into their lockers with their school supplies prior to the opening day of school. Number one, to make the opening day of school a bit less stressful, and also allow for students to, in the 5th grade in particular, and even sometimes in the 6th grade, get a new lock if they need one, organize their locker a bit, and really feel like they're at home when they walk in for the first day of school. Also, not carrying large amounts of school supplies and boxes is also nice. So that was a great day, so thank you to the PTA for that. The 5th grade orientation was fantastic. It's an opportunity for students to receive tours, to meet their teachers, to experience, again, opening their locks and moving to their lockers a bit for the first time. And we also have town hall meetings within the first few days of school, which allow our Dr. Shigaris and I and the teaching staff to meet with each grade level and go over our expectations from an academic and behavioral standpoint, and also answer questions. It's interactive. We go over a variety of topics, but our themes, which we always go over, and I outlined this in our weekly newsletter, our safety, pause, positive, accountable, well-mannered, and safe behaviors, empathy, kindness, and teamwork, and goal setting, which is not just a district wide initiative and philosophy. It's also something that we share with our students, that we strongly encourage them to not only create goals, but monitor their goals and share their goals with others to increase some accountability in that regard. All of our students and staff were extremely positive during our opening week, which was quite hot and humid, which will hopefully change next year. But we moved some folks into different areas of the building if we needed to keep it cool. Our students and staff members were incredibly flexible and positive, and it's been a great start to the year. So those are just some photos that highlight our opening first few days, but we thank the board, we thank Dr. Desai, we thank everybody for what has been a great opening of school so far. So thank you. I'm going to pass it to Mr. Palumbo for the high school.
Good evening. Great to be here tonight. Excited to start the 2023-2024 school year. A lot like Dr. Mara said, I have to mention the outstanding job that was done by the folks who got the buildings and the grounds ready for our wonderful opening here in the building. We did not have that big construction project they have at the middle school going on, but there is a lot of activity during the summer months. So a big thank you to everyone who worked to make sure the facilities were up to par. A lot like Dr. Mara talked about in terms of his building, there was a lot of excitement at the high school as the year started. Dr. Desai talked earlier about the orientation program that we have that really serves two purposes. It gives our students who are here in the building a leadership opportunity, and the students who come in an opportunity to break the ice and meet some of those students and really get acclimated to the high school before classes begin. Based on feedback from students, we did make some adjustments to our orientation program this year. We let students run through a full schedule before the building opened so they could get the lay of the building, meet their teachers, kind of iron out some of those wrinkles that exist and feel a little more comfortable in the building. In a smaller district, students know each other. When they come over here, they really want to get to know the teachers. So we thought that was an important shift to make for the students. Also, right before the school year started, our athletic season started. Those went off without a hitch. We've already got one championship that I'll boast about. Our girls soccer team won the Mount Pleasant Cup. That was very exciting. I think that happened the Saturday before schools opened, which was certainly very exciting for our soccer team, and certainly all of our other teams are beginning competition now, and we couldn't be more proud of all that they're doing to represent our community in a positive way in Section 1. As far as our work with teachers go before the school year started, we did work focused on our building and district goals. We're focusing on ICT and curriculum development, a lot like you'll see in the other buildings. We got a head start on some of that work in early June, when teachers began to develop some templates and forms for their curriculum development, and now what they're doing is they're mapping out curriculum in their different courses that they offer, which is great. In terms of the ICT model, unlike the two other buildings in the district, We've had that here at the high school for a number of years. So really our goal is to learn and continue to grow. There are some great coaches that are going to be coming in and working with our teachers who currently work in an ICT model. So that's all certainly very exciting. In terms of students, if you take a look at the photos up top, we did our grade level meetings to start the school year. We had meetings with students in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. What we did is we broke it up. The assistant principal and myself had a little talk with the students. We went over the code of conduct, talked about some changes, and we also gave the class advisors an opportunity to meet with their group there and talk about some of the plans that each class has throughout the year, which was really exciting. And then developmentally, our guidance curriculum, kind of pushed in, and counselors talked to students about all the work that they'll be doing with them throughout the year, in school counseling. So that was very, very good there. As far as things that are coming up, a few reminders for families. We have our back to school night on September 21st. That will be at 7 p.m. It's in person. If you'd like a tour of the building, I encourage you to arrive by 6:15. We have members of our various student organizations that will be on site here, and they can assist you to move throughout the building, so that night is a little more manageable. There is the potential for it to be warm, so I always tell people to make sure that you wear some kind of cool clothing that night, and I suggest sneakers, because there are a lot of ups and downs in these old buildings. I've invited a number of community organizations to our back to school night. Those folks will be set up in the cafeteria, and I encourage people to visit the cafeteria during free periods or lunch periods to learn about all the exciting opportunities that exist here in the community. Then finally, I want to encourage all families to look for my weekly update. Those goes out on Fridays. Lots of important information. If I miss something or you've got some resources you'd like me to share, I am all ears. Send us some information and I'll look to incorporate it. And we are looking forward to a phenomenal year. I can't thank the board and Dr. Dessau and the community enough for all their support, and I look forward to seeing everybody on campus and at events.
Great.
Thank you very much. I think, there's so much that's going on in these schools in terms of setting us up for a successful school year, and all kinds of different types of learnings going on, from expectations to the code of conduct to anything. But I want to just point out this picture on the top right. This is high school math, beginning of school, no time's a wasting in terms of the academics. Mrs. Hunger talked about kindergartners learning the letter T. You go from the very beginning of the school experience to our high school kids diving right in to their content in their classes. So kudos to everyone, as our principals talked about, who made this happen, from technology to custodians to nurses to secretaries, to district office. If I left anybody out, please forgive me, but just an amazing job so far, and just really a focus on academics right from the beginning. This is always part of our beginning of the year, taking a look at, this is a decade in review of student enrollment. And the numbers sort of tell a little bit of the story, but this is just a snapshot of our enrollment data for the past decade. Enrollment since 13-14 has fluctuated to some extent, and trended downward a little bit over the course of the decade. So 23-24 data is grayed out because it is not taken at the same point in time where the other years are. The other years are from Beds Day, which is in October. These numbers are as of 9/8, and they are unofficial. We spend a lot of time in the beginning of the year cleaning up things. We might have transfer students in, transfer students out, and a whole host of other complicated things that happen with all of our student data. So things are unofficial on the screen and pending. But I think you'll see from 2013 to 2023, we have a total decrease of 145 students, which is about an 8.1% decrease for students. Our number since 2021 has stayed around 630. We had the little dip in 21-22, but we're almost at exactly the same number for the past 4 years, with a little exclusion there for 21-22. And our numbers do fluctuate a little bit by buildings as well. If you take a look at this data from a cohort perspective, you'll see that the grade levels range anywhere from 100 to upwards of almost 150 students. So when those students move from grade level to grade level, they might also change buildings. So you'll see some of these numbers fluctuate in terms of our total enrollment. So overall, we are off to an amazing start to the 23-24 school year. Thank you.